to highlight this issue. My question will be for Mr. Sibley, and that's just kind of talking about the global food insecurity, and it's obviously has risen because of Russia's unprovoked war of aggression inside Ukraine. I think this is going to be a problem throughout the remainder of this year and into next year, and not as the Kremlin claims because of sanctions that the United States and many other countries have imposed in response to Russia's war. But can you detail the deliberate exemptions and carve-outs that the United States has included in the Russia sanctions, in our ongoing Russian sanctions that would prevent the disruption or I guess the disruption of trade and agricultural commodities and fertilizer, and maybe I'm sorry if this question has been asked prior to me jumping on here, but over to you.
No, thank you so much. And it's really important to keep reiterating that for everyone involved, because many companies around the world may not realize that these things aren't sanctioned at all. Basically, every kind of food you can imagine is not sanctioned by the United States, the EU, or the UK, or any partners. Any agricultural product, fertilizers, livestock, all this stuff, it's not sanctioned by the United States. You are free to use US dollars to pay for this stuff to trade in it. It's not just food, it's also vital medicines, anything to do with the COVID-19 pandemic, for example. So there's all sorts of things, all sorts of measures that the US has taken in step with European partners to make sure that the vital trade that goes on in the world that affects the poorest and most vulnerable people is not disrupted. If Russia isn't selling these things, if it isn't exporting these things itself, as it's not with its fertilizer, that is Russia's choice. Where there's a genuine concern that people may have is about how to pay for this stuff at the moment. And I would, again, I think I mentioned in my opening remarks, but it's fair to say that traditional payment methods have been disrupted because most Russian banks are now sanctioned, but not all of them are sanctioned. And Russia has found no problem. Well, it's certainly found ways to continue receiving payments for those things that it wants to keep selling because they give it leverage, such as oil and gas to Europe. So, just in conclusion, I think Russia is very clearly weaponizing the supply of food very callously and brutally, and many Africans will die because of that. I don't think anything we can do with sanctions will change that, because we've already, we haven't imposed any sanctions on this stuff. There are general licenses allowing people to deal in it. So the only thing we can do, I think, is support Ukraine to break that blockade. Give them the weapons they need to start hitting Russian ships. Again, this isn't going to solve it in the next few months. We need to clear all the mines, even if we were able to do that. But I'm not convinced that Russia is going to be a helpful partner on this, despite all the negotiations it claims to be undertaking with the UN at the moment. So back to you. Sorry.
Well, Mr. Sibley, you're absolutely right, and the word you've used, weaponized. They are weaponizing food. They are weaponizing energy. They are weaponizing any available tool that they possibly can